Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, she went from successful businesswoman
I've been on every single major news network
to divorced and jobless.
Amber blames everything in life on her father and I.
They cost me jobs and had my children taken away.
You don't deserve to see your children.
You don't deserve to tell me what I deserve, period. I grew up in an abusive home. There are police reports that'll show that.
Then why did you not produce those? Did she grow up in an abusive home?
Absolutely not.
You burned your wedding dress in front of your children.
Yes, sir.
She left them alone to go out and get more wine.
I did not ever leave them alone. That is a lie.
You're the great mother, right?
You don't get to talk to me about being a mother because you weren't one.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. How you doing? Good to see you. Well, at just 30 years old, Amber had it all, juggling career and family. She had a six-figure job and was the main breadwinner for her husband and their 2 kids. She says she went from living the dream to living a nightmare. She lost everything, her marriage, her kids, and her career. So how did this woman go from this to this?
By the time I was 30, I was making well over $100,000 a year. I was married with 2 beautiful children, and we had built our dream home. My life looked perfect on the outside, but on the inside, our life was a mess.
She was drinking 2 bottles of wine per night. She started not coming home and acting irrational.
Amber's lost everything she has because of her erratic behavior and her drinking.
After my divorce happened, I prayed for guidance. A new business came to me like a revelation from God. I jumped out of bed and I just wrote down divas, divorcing independent, very able survivors. And I thought, oh my gosh, somebody needs to lead people to a better way.
The idea for the company was perfectly reasonable, but Amber said that she was going to be on the Oprah Show and had connections with Mark Cuban.
She said that she was going to be a multimillionaire, we were all going to be famous, and that we all needed to protect ourselves with LLCs. I thought she had permanent brain damage.
We were terrified and we tried to get Amber help.
They had me committed to a mental institution.
Amber says she is angry towards her parents, Vicki and Larry, because Larry won't do anything to help her get out of the hole that she's in. Take a look.
We got Amber evaluated and the doctors determined she needed to go to state hospital. During that time, Amber's ex-husband filed for custody.
My parents made people think I was losing my mind because they didn't understand my vision. But once I created Divas, I was featured in USA Today. I've been on every single major news network.
One idea is bringing hundreds of people together.
I just knew that there had to be something to help these people. I made my vision a reality.
Amber eventually lost her company because of her drinking.
My parents have to take some of the responsibility for where I am now.
Amber blames everything in life on her father and I.
Not only have they cost me jobs and had my children taken away, but that's led to major depression where I couldn't be back on top of my game. So I do feel like my parents are still in debt to me for the pain that they've caused me.
You are a pathetic, did you hear me? Pathetic excuse for a mother. You've never helped me.
Even though Amber says she hates us, the minute she needs money, we're the first people she calls. Amber wants us to pay for a place for her to stay, her car. Amber's had numerous car wrecks, and she doesn't make car payments a lot. She's had repos.
One time Amber asked me to give her $18,000. I would not give her the money, so she started sending me hateful text messages, leaving voicemails, and told me she was going to take to Facebook to tell what a bad parent I was.
Instead of helping me, my parents have sabotaged me.
Well, there's a lot been going on.
There's a lot been going on.
Yeah. So how did this come to pass? It seemed like you really had things on a roll.
I really did have things on a roll, but you know what, Dr. Phil? One thing that I've never addressed is the abuse that I suffered as a child. And they can sit right up here and lie all that they want, But the bottom line was I grew up in an abusive home. So my company was not only important to me to help people through the process of divorce, it was also important that I helped other people and made sure that children didn't grow up the way I grew up.
Let me kind of set some ground rules here. Welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
There's two things I want people to understand always when they come here. One is that the guests are teaching tools. Millions of people are watching this. They're watching and learning from what I say to you and what we work through, so it's a great teaching tool. And the second thing is, you got to say, I'm going to tell the truth. And to do that, you have to have some insight, and you have to have a willingness to truly be authentic. And if you've got some story you tell, some gamut you run, some agenda you have, and you get up here and do the same thing you've always done, you're going to get the same thing you've always gotten.
Right.
So, did she grow up in an abusive home?
Absolutely not.
Okay, now I'm just going to stop right here because somebody's lying. And I'm not going to sit here and talk to liars. I'll send the three of you home. I just don't waste my time that way. Maybe I'm just too long in the tooth, but I'm not going to spend an hour of my life that I can't get back. There are not versions of the truth.
You know, I think she's blocked it out. I personally think she has the issues.
Wow.
I grew up in an abusive home. There are police reports that will show that. My father hit me in the face on my first day of my job.
Why did you not produce those?
I did produce them.
You
The show has them, and I actually have friends from high school that will back what I'm saying. And frankly, there were police, you know, you think that's normal that there are police people at our house all the time? I remember
all the time.
holidays.
Wow.
Oh, when somebody got old enough to call,
So
I protected those children. You know what? You have a lot of people to thank, and I'm one of them.
I protected your kids. We protected our children.
Oh, yeah, good job. You sure
But
didn't
for
protect me.
$18,000, we could
I
have been
didn't ask you
parents
for
of the year.
$18,000. You know what? No, I've never
$18,000,
asked
we
you for
would have been parents of the year.
You know what you're good at? You're good at lying, and you're good at
I have nothing to lie about. We're at a really good place in our life.
I've been in 8 hospitals thanks to you.
Thanks
You
to
think
me.
I have anything to lie about anymore?
We had
I've
nothing
hit rock
to do
bottom,
with you
Dr.
being
Phil.
in the hospital.
And I've made bad decisions.
You're not going to filibuster here.
I'm not trying to.
Well, but that's what you're doing.
No, sir.
That's what you're doing.
I'm telling the truth. I have made bad decisions.
Talking. You're not going to filibuster. I'm going to control this conversation. I have no trouble controlling conversations.
There was a lot of abuse growing up. There was a black eye.
There is absolutely no black eyes. No, Amber. I've had one black eye in my whole life, and it was when I was in PE. I was hit by a baseball bat. I've got a little scar above my eye from that.
You were hit in a shower.
Let me ask you.
Hit in a shower.
We've been married
I've
for
never
40
had
years.
black
Do you think we've
eyes
stayed
other
married
than-
for 40 years?
There were
with me
people that
beating
knew the
on
abuse
her?
was going
On
on,
her?
including
No.
your brother.
Okay, stop.
No, my brother's
Stop.
happy to talk.
Stop. Let's take the hypothetical. Hypothetically, let's agree, you grew up in an abusive home. Yes. How old are you now?
I'm 40.
All right. So what is the point in spending this entire conversation up to this point talking about growing up in an abusive home?
You know, I think I've moved past some of that, but quite frankly, my parents think that alcohol is my problem. My problem stems from men. And I can assure you that those started with daddy issues because my daddy wasn't there.
He's been there for you.
You know what? Once
when you
he's
have no
sobered
one
up,
around.
I am the very first person you
sobered
call when you
Absolutely.
have any problem whatsoever.
Your dad has always been there for you, Amber.
My dad has made some changes in his life after I moved out. I moved out when I was 15.
No, you
No,
didn't.
you
didn't pay for college.
You were wrong.
I was
You
living
graduated high
with
school at
friends.
our home, if you remember right. Yes.
What is your objective in being here today?
I want to get the help that I need. And frankly, I want to clear my name of some things. I've made a lot of very poor decisions. I have hit rock bottom. I can't go back to the way things are right now.
Okay, so are you here justifying your life to this point and justifying and defending it? Or are you here wanting to make a shift in a different direction?
I want to make a shift in a different direction. I want to
Because
get
what you're
back
doing
to,
is justifying it.
I'm trying to understand it, Dr. Phil. I don't understand why I'm in the position I'm in. I've studied abuse. I know that some of these childhood wounds are not healed. I feel like I never learned to value myself, and I learned to protect everybody but myself.
Well, that's something I can work with.
And I want them to be there and supportive. They have not been supportive.
But what you want and what you get are two different things.
Two different.
And listen, my father was a raging alcoholic.
So was mine.
And
Oh, he was.
Oh, no.
Oh, he quit.
Your father abused alcohol, but he wasn't a terrible alcoholic. He worked 2 jobs while you were a baby to
And
put
that
you in a house versus an
Drinking
apartment.
was not a part of our household every day either.
And-
It was sporadic here and there.
I'm so glad you justify
I'm
his
not
actions.
justifying anything.
You think I've ever been
you
drinking
claim
every day?
everybody's abused you, from him to your ex-husband to the cops.
Police
Oh, I
department.
learned how to cover abuse really well.
have
and you
not
know
been
what? What I
abused.
said when we got here,
Yeah.
you can't heal what you try to conceal. When are you going
you
to
are
wake up?
concealing a lot. You
When
don't
can we
take
put
any
her in a
responsibility
hospital?
for your life.
Oh, I've
when can we
taken
put her in a
responsibility.
hospital? We can put her in a hospital when she needs to go.
Oh, she needs to go. She does need to go.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You're in denial.
Coming up, Amber says Larry was a physically abusive father. Well, your brother was there. We're going to ask him when we come back.
Amber completely exaggerates the past.
Amber claimed that I punched her.
You punched me in the freaking face the first day of work.
That did not happen.
I can assure you this situation isn't all my fault. I was taught abuse by my parents.
And later, how did you lose custody of your children?
My parents felt I was an unfit mother.
Did you light clothes on fire in front of your children?
Yes, sir. Vicky criticizes me because she wasn't strong enough to be me. I was the strong, independent one. She's not. Vicky is a child in a woman's body. She doesn't understand what it's like to be an adult. Somebody's always taking care of her. I don't even consider her a mom.
Well, Amber blames her parents for her downward spiral from successful real estate agent to divorced and jobless.
Growing up, my family was in complete chaos. My dad would spank me. He even whipped me with a belt.
My husband's discipline was not abusive in any way.
Amber claims that I hit her with a belt 40 times. She then said that CPS was called. None of that is true.
You have been a monster in my life.
Amber completely exaggerates the past.
Amber claimed that I punched her.
You punched me in the freaking face the first day of work.
That did not happen.
I saw my father be physically abusive to my mother.
My husband did not abuse me, but now she's built a whole childhood of abuse.
You have let me down at every turn in my life.
Amber has left me voice messages saying I've never paid for a prom dress. In fact, we did pay. Amber said that we didn't help her with her wedding. We paid for the church, the wedding, the reception, and many other things.
You're not a mother. You're a poor excuse for a mother.
Amber lies about things just to get back at us.
They keep telling me that it's all my fault. I can assure you this situation isn't all my fault. I was taught abuse by my parents.
The reason Amber says she was abused is because we're not supporting her financially. The worse her financial situation gets, the worse her childhood gets.
I will trash your ass because you lie, and I am not delusional.
You're threatening physical violence against your mother and father.
I don't feel like I'm threatening physical violence. It didn't seem that way to me. I'm sorry.
What were you?
Actually, I did say in that last one.
Yeah, that pretty
I don't
clear.
have any desire to physically harm my parents, but I am very tired of being disrespected. I'm over it. I'm finally pissed off, and I am telling the truth, and I don't care what they say. I know the truth.
But you're an adult.
I understand that I'm an adult. This has caused issues in other relationships in my life. And basically, I feel like they robbed me of my childhood, and now I'm in a bad place. And every time I reached out to get help and asked for protection for my parents, they have let me down. And frankly, Dr. Phil, rejection breeds obsession for me. That's why I have the issues I have with the men.
So what do you want them to do?
I want them to get help as well. You know what? I'd love to see her make it one day in a mental institution. They've had me put in 8.
We can't have you put in mental institutions.
Oh, yeah,
in the state of
you're
Texas,
right there,
in the state of Texas, you don't walk up and say, she's crazy,
well,
put her in a mental
institution. The state of Texas is 48th in mental health funding, and I've been through that system, and it hasn't worked.
Well, you learned about them, but you didn't get any help there. That's the problem. And for you to say...
Don't you tell me what I got there. Have you visited me in one of them?
No.
You've never picked me up. I have a friend sitting in here that's known me for 13 years. She's never met these people. They want to come in and, you know, when it's negative and bad, but they never want to talk about anything that I've done right. And I'll tell you this, I made all the wrong decisions for all the right reasons. I cared about making my company work. I care about my children. I tell you, too, if you guys ever disrespect me in front of those children again, there will be no relationship.
Do you know what I got from her daughter?
To see your children
you don't deserve to tell me what I deserve, period, now or ever. You didn't parent me when I was a child, and you want to parent me now?
The two last things that they shared with us as they grew up is how she left them alone while they were 5 and 6 years old to go out and get more.
Did not ever leave them alone. That is a lie. You know what? I might have gone to a neighbor's house. They weren't left alone.
If I would have known that, if I would have known that at that time, I promise you, you wouldn't have been around those kids.
You've caused enough pain in my life.
You would have never been around those kids.
You've caused enough pain.
Her daughter
you don't have to do anymore.
A conversation where you were trying to badmouth us.
Yes, sir. I do have respect for you.
Thank you.
Not for parents.
I wonder why.
Have you been drinking today?
Oh, no, sir. No.
Are you on any prescription medication that's been
I
prescribed?
had a prescription that I did take this morning. Yes, sir.
What's it for?
ADD.
You do seem to have a flight of ideas.
Well, there's a lot that is going on. There's a lot that's happened. There's a lot of damage. You know, I can't tell 40 years of my life in an hour.
Well, I understand, but I'm just an old country boy from Texas, and I can't think as fast as you talk.
I know, that's a problem.
Yeah. Do you think your sister is mentally stable?
No, I do not.
What do you think sent her over the edge? And later, you go to your boyfriend's house on Christmas Eve and trash it?
Yes, it was a poor decision.
You burned your wedding dress?
Yes, sir.
In front of your children?
Yes, sir.
Cody is Amber's younger brother who says he doesn't remember any of the abuse. Thanks so much for joining us. You've been listening to the conversation so far, right?
Yes, sir.
You can help us out here. Your sister is saying that she grew up in an abusive household. She had an abusive childhood, that she was abused. She witnessed abuse. Talk about that. Is that accurate or not accurate?
No, not to the extent that she's talking about.
Not to the extent. Define abuse. When we were having to go to neighbors' homes when we lived in Parker, Texas, I'm still friends with those neighbors. It'll verify what we're saying. And you know why you don't remember it, Cody? You didn't get in the middle of the fights. I did.
He's 2 years younger than you. He remembers a lot. And
he doesn't remember as much.
Okay, I'm talking to Cody right now. Cody, what I want to do is calm this family down. Your sister says she is at rock bottom. I don't want her to be at rock bottom. I want to extend a hand down and pull her up. What can you tell me that I need to know to help this family?
I mean, I'm kind of myself trying to understand all this. So,
is your sister, in your opinion, and I hesitate to ask because I know that it's hard to answer these questions straight, but do you think your sister is mentally stable?
No, I do not. It's like she comes in and out of being normal and then having issues. It's just very, I don't know, it's hard to explain.
Tell me about your sister when she's on the right path, when she's good. Tell me about your sister when she's good.
Well, there's nobody else that's more fun to be around. She's been a great sister. It's just been a terrible struggle watching this happen.
Do you miss her? Do you miss the good sister?
I think the whole family does.
She used to say we were good parents. She used to be supportive of us. She used to be a great.
What do you want for her, Cody?
Just to get some help. Just want her to get back on the right path. We all love her.
What do you think sent her over the edge?
Going through a divorce, and people handle tragedy in different ways, and I can't sit here and bash her because I don't know how she's handled the trauma that she's gone through.
What's the biggest trauma, Cody?
We all love her. Well, I think with the divorce, and it seems like she struggled after the divorce. She got to the point where you would talk to her, and it's almost like not the same person. So,
but you stand behind her. You want to help her. I'm going to point her down a path. You will support me in what I do.
Yes, sir. I wouldn't be sitting here today if I wasn't.
Okay. What do you want to say?
I believe the rape and murder that she was had been a part of in 1992 is a major, major issue that has not been brought up.
Well, and I want to say that I love that man on screen more than, and I do love my family. I think that they did the best given some of the circumstances that they were given that they could. I know that my entire life, men have either tried to protect me or prey on me. I mean, they were dealing with a situation where I had been raped. I had a stalker. I've had men follow me home. I mean, they've had to deal with a lot. I unfortunately attract a lot of attention, and sometimes it's not the right attention, and I have been hurt a lot. And if I don't break these patterns with these men, it will kill me. That's my problem. My brother can verify that. You know what? I am a mother. I'm actually there for my daughter.
You are.
Oh, you know what? I love my kids more than anything in the world.
Your
So I
kids
want to
have
get
no
back
respect whatsoever for you.
You helped put that in their head. I went to my ex-husband Beau's house after calling 911.
Amber called the police so she could evict Beau from his house and take back custody of the children. Based on the police report, Amber was there wanting into the house. Beau explained to the policeman that she did not reside there. She had no custody of the children. Amber refused to leave.
The cops arrested me with force. I literally almost died.
Because of that incident, Beau and the kids have a 2-year protective order against her.
I did nothing to warrant the way I was treated.
We're talking about death threats, stalking, delusions, drinking. Those are just some of the highlights of the protective order Amber's ex-husband Beau has against her. Now, Amber says she's upset about it because her parents testified against her and told the court that she is an unfit mother. Is that true?
Yes, that's correct.
And you did that because you were protecting the children.
Absolutely.
Oh, you think you're protecting the children.
We would do the same thing again.
Oh, you know what? I am a mother. I'm actually there for my daughter.
You are.
Oh, you know what? I love my kids more than anything in the world.
Your
So I
kids
want to
have
get
no
back
respect whatsoever for
you
you.
helped put that in their head.
No,
and I'll tell you what.
You know what,
you want to
Dr.
talk
Phil?
respect?
The one thing that we have
you want
never
to talk
done.
Respect? I have none for you.
I think I'm talking for a second. The one thing that we have never done
is go to counseling with me, which I've asked
we actually have.
No, you
we
haven't.
went to counseling, and it didn't go her way, so she
that's a lie.
started to change out.
I've asked you to go to counseling.
But at any rate, once again, the kids are a very high priority for us right now.
Oh, really?
They have
That's why
lost
my friend
all
for 13
respect
years
for her.
has never
But
met
one
you.
thing that
They've lost
have not
respect because
done.
they have grandparents telling them things that are lies.
Excuse me.
You're trying to do that
You're
against us.
not going to filibuster through this.
I'm not trying to filibuster.
What you're talking, anytime somebody starts talking, you start talking over them.
When they're lying about me.
The one thing that I'd like to comment on is that we have never, ever said one bad thing about her in front of the kids, ever, and never will.
That's a lie.
Never will.
Well, you might be interested to know that we do pre-interviews, of course.
Right.
And neither one of them uttered a syllable negative about you.
That's interesting because they love to criticize me.
That neither one of them uttered a syllable that was criticizing you or putting you down. They talked about certain behaviors.
I wonder where I learned those behaviors.
That they didn't endorse, that they couldn't support.
They don't know they're not in
did,
my life. They'll go on Facebook and pick out certain things. And
let me give you a hint.
Okay.
This is a hint that you can take with you if you take nothing else with you. If you start talking the split second I stop, you weren't listening to what I said because you were formulating a response while I was talking. Because you're not smart enough to put it all together in a tenth of a second. So when I stop talking and you instantly respond, you were formulating your response while I was talking instead of listening to me.
And I am trying to work on not being as reactive. But when it comes to defending myself and when it comes to my children,
what did I just tell you?
I was listening to every word you said.
What did I just tell you?
You told me that if I start talking the second that you stop talking, then I'm not smart enough to listen to what you have said.
And neither am I.
I'm directing a response.
And neither am I. I'm not smart enough either. We can't do that. We're not, brain's not that quick. Let's talk about this childhood situation for a minute. Hypothetically, if you were neglected, hypothetically, I'm not saying this happened.
Yes, sir.
I would say to you that you had zero responsibility or accountability for that. You just don't as a child. You have 100% responsibility for what you do about it now. You don't have responsibility as a child, but you have total responsibility as an adult. And here's some good news and some bad news. You want the good news first or the bad news first?
I want the bad first.
Okay, the bad is you have to fix this by yourself. They can't fix it for you. You want the good news? You have to fix this by yourself. They can't do it for you.
You know, I want them to own some accountability. I want them to have some accountability. And frankly, he projects on me the issues he's never dealt with.
You can want that, but you don't need it. The reason it's good news, the reason it's bad news and good news is it's all on you. Now, we can pretend it's not. We can play the victim.
I'm here to get help.
Well, you're getting it right now. I would hope you recognize that. I don't want you to be a victim. I want you to be a victor.
Thank
and in
you.
order to do that, you need to pull your head out, look and see things clearly. You are accountable for you. They can't fix this for you. You burned your wedding dress.
Yes, sir.
Were you drinking heavily?
Yes, I like wine.
Like a couple of bottles at a time?
No, that's a lie.
No, it's not.
Interestingly enough, we're all from the same stomping grounds.
We are.
I know where you live. I know the areas that things have happened, and I've worked in that court system. How did you lose custody of your children? Because I know those court systems there are pretty much women's courts.
Oh, well, once you get locked into a mental institution, it sure is not.
How did you lose your children?
I lost my children because my parents felt I was an unfit mother. They exaggerated things. And basically, you know, I did have a vision to help people. I still want to help people as soon as I can get back on top of my own life, because part of the reason I'm here and willing to share the story, look, it's not fun to look at those and, you know, see the arrest and have that made public to the world, but I know my story can help other people. My parents helped my ex-husband get custody. Once I was in that mental hospital, once I'm in the system, it's very difficult to defend yourself. And I'll tell you this too, I didn't have any more money to fight.
Were you fit to take care of those children at the time?
I was fit to take care of those children.
Are you fit to take care of them now?
The mental hospital stay, the very first one, is where my life really spiraled out of control. No, sir, I'm not. I've got to get in a better spot for myself financially. And part of a lot of my issues has been with the finances, because it's a stress that I wouldn't put anybody else through. I wake up thinking about it. It almost makes me sick daily. I've got to get back on top of my mental health and my finances before I can have my kids.
I'm going to ask you some questions.
Yes, sir.
That aren't essay questions.
Okay.
They're not even multiple choice. These are yes or no questions.
Yes, sir.
Them weighing in for your ex was a negative for you.
Yes.
Okay. Did you light clothes on fire in front of your children?
Oh, I did set my wedding dress.
It's not an essay question.
Yes, sir.
You burned your wedding dress.
Yes, sir.
In front of your children.
Yes, sir. And I regret repeating some of the very patterns that I saw that I grew up with. And part of the reason I got divorced.
Set mine on fire.
There's not room to write on this test. This is a check, yes or no. Were you drinking heavily?
Yes.
Like wine?
Yes, I like wine.
Like a couple of bottles at a time?
No, that's a lie.
No, it's not.
I drank a bottle a few times, you know, and
Well, she's still remembered.
Okay.
I have. I understand. I'm in a mess. And, you know, I will say this. Being in the hospitals and the legal issues that I've recently had to deal with, once I spiraled quick. And it's hard to get out. I feel like I can't breathe.
You're the great mother, right? I'm not a good mother, but you're a great example.
You don't get to talk to me about being a mother because you weren't one.
Oh, I absolutely was there for you, Amber. I took care of your
You neglected
everything.
me.
I made a list of things that I thought were significant that I considered self-destructive behaviors.
Okay.
And you're saying that you lost your children because of them. 2008 is when you were really binge drinking. There was infidelity. You threw clothes and the dress on the fire with the children present.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, did you have custody of the children at that time?
We were living in the same home together.
Right. So you had custody at that time. You were,
yes,
right.
we did.
Okay. Then 2009, you get a divorce and settlement for the home, spent all the money. You went through the money pretty quick.
Well, and I invested in a business. So I wasn't just randomly spending the money. But I did what the average woman does. I went through it in about 2.5 years.
And 12/24, did you trash your friend's home?
A boyfriend.
And get called?
I did.
Get charged with criminal mischief?
And I'm not going to sit here and deny I've made really poor decisions when it comes
Christmas
to men.
Eve.
Yes. And I'm admitting
your kids
it.
were at home with their
And I went
dad,
there
and
to
you were
break
out
up
at a
with this
boyfriend's house
gentleman.
in Austin. You're at Christmas Eve, got
I'm
out
a
of jail,
single
and
mother.
drove home in an ice storm to get home for your kids for Christmas. But you're the great mother, right? I'm not a good mother, but you're a great example.
You don't get to talk to me about being a mother because you weren't one.
Oh, I absolutely was there for you, Amber. I was a stay-at-home mother. I took care of your needs. I took care of your everything.
As I was saying,
yes, sir, Dr. Phil.
As I was saying, you go to your boyfriend's house on Christmas Eve and trash it?
Yes, I wanted to break up with him. I had a situation where I felt very torn. And
on Christmas Eve, you go do this?
I did because
Did you put a bunny in the pot or what?
No, I wasn't that bad. I wanted my stuff out of the home. I felt very torn. I was going back and forth on whether I should go back to my ex-husband, and I wanted to be with my kids. It was a poor decision. And again, well, I have abandonment issues.
Okay, let me continue here. We're going a little bit further, 2010, July. You fight with your boyfriend in front of his wife.
No.
Yes.
It was not a wife.
Yes, it was.
That's a lie. You have no idea what happened. It was a girlfriend.
Oh, well, your son.
You know
We
what?
stand to be corrected.
And you don't even know what happened.
Well, your son told us all about it, new members.
Okay.
He was in the car. I told him, and I made a bad decision again.
All right.
Look,
but
I'm
there was a big fracas in front of him and his significant other and children.
It wasn't his
the lady's
significant
trying to
other.
get her
Were there
son
children
away from
there?
the situation.
There was, my child was out in the car, and basically he knew about some stuff that I was doing
It's okay.
for a job.
I don't worry about that detail.
Okay.
You know, I was there to defend myself.
Everything
Okay,
that she said
you quit your job for this Divas, right?
Yes, I sure did. I prayed about Divas, and I felt like it was my mission in life.
Your real estate license expired.
Yes, sir.
And you went to your family.
Again, exaggerating. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Did you tell them to prepare for fame?
I told them that there was a possibility that this could put me in the limelight, and it has. I mean, at home, I've been on every single major news network at home. I've been in USA Today.
It was a concept, and you were already saying
You don't even know. You know what?
Show,
I was a
and
vision from God. And guess what? You can't talk to me about God because you didn't take me to church, did you?
I went
to
church.
So the other day when you said, God bless you, don't you tell me God bless me. Because guess what has helped me a lot?
I don't go to church every day, but you've gone to church and prayed for our
death. My faith got me right here, and I'm going to listen to everything this man asked me to do.
She says on Facebook she just went to church and then tells us she prays for our death. I don't think God would appreciate that one.
What did you say to yourself when you realized that you had been dating the young man that murdered your friend?
You got me all so curious. I got a little question. Would you mind if I ask if we could stop being serious? Or can you feel this tension? Pull me close to your chest. 'Cause I need a brand new flavor. I'm done